Lesson 2, Odds and Probability. Consider the following example. 4 black counters and 5 white counters are placed in a bag. One of the counters is selected at random. Number 1. State the probability that the counter selected is, for A, black. So that would be the total number of black counters over the total number of counters. There's 4 black, there's 9 altogether, so the probability would be 4 over 9. For B, the probability of not black. So this would be the number of non-black counters divided by the total number of counters. So we've got 5 that are not black, which are the white ones, over the 9 in total, so we have 5 over 9. Just recall that the events black and not black are called complementary events, and that the sum of the probabilities of the two events is equal to 1. It is less likely that a black counter will be selected than a non-black counter, and we can express this relationship in a ratio using odds. We can say that the odds for selecting a black counter are 4 to 5. So these are the probability of selecting a black counter and the probability against selecting a black counter, but we've left out the 9, so it's just the numerators, so it's 4 to 5. The odds against selecting a black counter is just the reverse, 5 to 4. So odds 4 is often referred to as odds in favor of. Odds are normally expressed in ratio form, 4 to 5. It can be expressed as a fraction, but we tend to avoid it because it looks too much like a probability. Here are the formulas. Odds in favor of A would equal the number of outcomes for A, colon, the number of outcomes against A. The odds against A would equal the number of outcomes against A, colon, the number of outcomes for A. And the probability, as you recall, would be the number of outcomes favorable for A over the total number of outcomes. Odds can be considered as a part-part ratio, whereas we would consider the probability as a part over the whole, the total. Continuing on from our example, number 2. Determine the odds in favor of a white counter being selected. So if you remember, our probability of picking a white counter would be 5 over 9, and against would be 4 over 9. We forget about the total number, so the odds would be 5 to 4. The odds against a white counter being selected, we would just flip those two numbers, so it would be 4 to 5. Even odds. Even odds are when the odds for and the odds against are equal. The ratio is 1 to 1, or sometimes when referred to in percentages, it is written 50-50. Example 1. After suffering a severe heart attack, Dudley's doctor told him that he had even odds of making a full recovery. So what is the probability that Dudley makes a full recovery? Well, if it's even odds, his probability would be 1/2. Could also be written as 0.5 or as 50%. Stephanie has been told that the probability that she will make a full recovery is 0.65. Expressed in lower terms, the odds in favor of Stephanie making a full recovery. So the odds in favor, we'll think of this as percent, so we'll think of it as 65 in favor. It's 35 that she won't, that's just the difference between 100 and 65. And we could lower that into lowest form, which would be 13 to 7. Example 2. When placing bets on horse races, the chances that each horse will win are often quoted as odds. In a particular 5-horse race, the odds against each horse winning are quoted as follows. Free Spirit is 2 to 1, Willow 3 to 1, Foxtrot 7 to 2, Gloria 8 to 1, and Lucky Joe 11 to 1. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to convert these odds into probabilities. So for Free Spirit, who has 2 chances of losing to 1 chance of winning, which is a total of 3, the probability would be 1 over 3. Similarly, the probability of Willow winning would be 1 over 4. Foxtrot would be 2 over 9. Gloria would be 1 over 9. And Lucky Joe would be 1 over 12. Now we're going to be comparing these probabilities, and the easiest way to do that with fractions is to convert them. You could either convert them to decimal or you can convert them to fraction. I'm a fraction fan myself, so I'm going to change them to fractions. So we notice that the common denominator would be 36. So 1/3 would become 12 over 36. 1/4 would be 9 over 36. 2/9 would be 8 over 36. 1/9 would be 4 over 36. And 1/12 would be 3 over 36. Now, which horse is now the favorite to win the race? Well, we can see that Free Spirit at 12 over 36, or 1/3, has the highest probability. Describe what is meant by the phrase odds 2 to 1 against. Well, this would mean that the probability of not winning is 2/3. Determine the sum of the probabilities in A and explain your answer. Well, we've got fractions that we're adding, and we do have common denominators, so this should be very simple. 12 over 36 plus 9 over 36 plus 8 over 36 plus 4 over 36 and 3 over 36 does give us 36 over 36, which equals 1. We've covered all the possibilities here, and we know that one horse must win. For E, what are the odds in favor of Foxtrot winning the race? So now we're in favor. So it's just the opposite. We just flip the two numbers around. So against was 7 to 2. So the odds in favor would be 2 to 7.